Hello, good day, everybody. Let's continue the study of the photosynthesis in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is one of the very important biological reaction which occur within the plant body upon this planet Earth itself. Photo means what? Light. Synthesis means what? Building up. It is a building up of simple saccharides with the help of inorganic raw materials such as gaseous carbon dioxide and liquid water in presence of the sunlight with the help of the photosynthetic pigments and release of the oxygen as a byproduct is known as the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis also defined in several ways. It is the conversion of the solar radiant energy into a chemical energy. As they absorb the solar radiant energy and as they manufacture the food, it is this solar radiant energy which is locked up in the food, the simple saccharides. So therefore, photosynthesis also called by the name as it is the conversion of the solar radiant energy into a chemical energy. Photosynthesis is one of the biological reaction. It is the endergonic reaction. It is an endergonic, anabolic, and the reduction reaction. So photosynthesis, this is the equation: CO2, H2O, the sunlight, the pigments, C6H12O6 plus H2O plus oxygen, 6CO2, 12H2O, then 6H2O, 6O2. This is the modern and universal equation. From this equation, we can understand how exactly or the overall reaction, the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis require some the raw materials. Let's take a look about these raw materials. What are the raw materials which are required for the photosynthesis? That is very important. The chief raw materials are here: carbon dioxide, the water, then the light, sunlight as a source of energy, and the different pigments. The first one it is, let's consider the carbon dioxide. Gaseous carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis, it is such a the wonderful reaction. It is these all green plants which absorb gaseous carbon dioxide from the atmospheric air. With the help of the liquid water, they convert the gaseous carbon dioxide and liquid water into a solid, the simple saccharide or a carbohydrate. Within the laboratory, a man cannot convert the gaseous carbon dioxide and liquid water into a solid, the carbohydrate. So therefore, it is one of the very wonderful the biochemical reaction occur inside the plant cell. During photosynthesis, gaseous carbon dioxide and liquid water, they get converted into a carbohydrate and also release the oxygen. Gaseous carbon dioxide, which is available in a plenty in atmospheric air. The atmospheric air contain of about 0.02% of carbon dioxide. The concentration of the carbon dioxide which is present in the atmospheric air may increase or decrease. Its concentration, it is not always same. For the act of the photosynthesis, plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmospheric air. So the absorption means what? There are no such organs present within the plant body which absorb solar radiant, that is the carbon dioxide from the atmospheric air. Carbon dioxide gaseous molecule diffuse into the internal the tissue of the plant body through the open stomata during a daytime. The diffusion of the carbon dioxide takes place from the external air into the internal the tissue of the plant body through the stomata. Stomata means for the gaseous exchange. So the entry of the gas carbon dioxide takes place through these stomata during a daytime. And during a daytime, photosynthesis also occur. Plants release the oxygen as a byproduct of the photosynthesis. This oxygen also release out to the external, that is the atmospheric air, through this the stomata. There is a entry of the carbon dioxide and exit of the oxygen molecule takes place through the open stomata during a daytime. Carbon dioxide, in this way, absorption of the carbon dioxide takes place by the plants from the atmospheric air. On the other hand, all the land plants get the required amount of carbon dioxide from the atmospheric air. Diffusion of the carbon dioxide takes place through the stomata. But in case of the aquatic plants or the water plants, the water acts as a medium in which the plants are subjected. Water actually contains more amount of carbon dioxide than that of the atmospheric air. That's why the water plants or the aquatic plants, actually they undergo means what? They synthesize more. The photosynthetic rate, it is always more in the aquatic plants than that of the land plants or the terrestrial plants. Carbon dioxide mostly in the form of the dissolved state available to the aquatic plants. They absorb this the dissolved carbon dioxide which is present in the water. In aquatic plants, almost the surface of the entire plant body involved and greatly participate in the process of the absorption of the carbon dioxide. So the aquatic plants absorb greatly the dissolved carbon dioxide from the water, and on the other hand, the land plants absorb the carbon dioxide from the external the atmospheric air. And the second at another the raw material which is required for the photosynthesis is that is a water. Water, it is at another prerequisite for the photosynthesis. All green plants absorb the required amount of the water from the soil by the roots. The roots of the plants greatly participate in the process of the absorption of the water. The plants do not absorb always the pure water from the soil. Along with some dissolved mineral salts, they absorb the water from the soil by the roots. It is this absorbed the water which remain available for the not only the photosynthesis but all other the vital functions, vital metabolic activities of the plant body. So they utilize only a small amount of the absorbed water for the photosynthesis, and rest of the water usually they lose in the form of the water vapor during the transpiration. Transpiration, it is one of the vital function of the plant body during which there is a loss of absorbed water takes place in the form of the water vapor from the internal tissue of the plant through the uh, uh, through the open stomata. Transpiration, it takes place always through the open stomata. So water, all the land plants absorb the water from the soil by the roots. As such, the aquatic plants are concerned, all aquatic plants usually present in the water, or they sometimes grow near the water bodies. Water, it is maximum to the maximum amount of water is available to the aquatic plants. So the entire surface of the body of the plant greatly participate in the process of the absorption of the water and other mineral salts. So this water, they make a use for the photosynthesis. Then the third one, that is the sunlight. Sunlight cheaply act as a source of the energy. Photosynthesis is one of the anabolic endergonic reaction. It requires energy. It requires the external source of the energy. We know that sun is one of the natural source of the energy. All other living organisms which are present upon this planet Earth actually get the required amount of energy either directly or indirectly from the sun. The sun, as it emits the radiation, it contains the cosmic rays, UV light rays, cosmic rays, then X rays, gamma rays, beta rays, then visible light rays, then infrared light rays, then radio rays, like that. Different light rays are present in the radiation of the sun. In earlier classes, we discussed much more about the different the light rays and their wavelengths. So this particular visible light rays is very important for the photosynthesis. When we pass into the prism a beam of visible light rays, it reflects out the 7 different colored light rays, which is termed as a spectrum. With the help of the spectroscope and a spectroscopic analysis, we can understand that the absorption spectrum and action spectrum. Out of the 7 different colored light rays, plants absorb a few colored light rays, especially the blue and red colored and the violet colored light rays. Red colored light rays mostly absorbed and mostly used for the photosynthesis. It is termed as a action spectrum. Blue colored, violet colored light rays are absorbed for the photosynthesis, are termed as, that is, the absorption spectrum. So the electromagnetic electromagnetic radiation that it comes from the sun to the planet Earth, that it comes from the sun to the surface of the plant body, as it contains different the radiations. The red colored light rays, and then whatever the 7 different colored light rays which are present in the ordinary visible light rays, all the 7 different colored light rays exhibit different wavelengths. So here the spectrum the spectrum lies in between the 360 nanometer to a 760 nanometer. The range of the spectrum, the range of all the different 7 different colored light rays. Here it is a 390 nanometer to 760 nanometer Vib Gayar, like that. Indigo, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Different. So the visible light. Here different the light rays. Namely, this is the visible light rays. Visible light rays. Here the cosmic rays, UV light rays, X-rays, infrared light rays, then radio waves, like that. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Different colored light rays. This is the spectrum of the visible light rays. The spectrum of the visible light rays lies in between the 390 nanometer to 760 the nanometer. The wavelength of the wavelength. So all green plants absorb the light which is required for the photosynthesis. Especially the pigments very actively participate in the process of the absorption of a particular light rays having a particular the wavelength capacity of the light rays. The carbon dioxide, water, the sunlight, then now the pigments. Pigments are also necessarily required for the act of the photosynthesis. Without pigments, no photosynthesis. In all the land plants, pigments and other aquatic plants. Pigments are of 3 different types. Chlorophyll pigments. Pigments are of 3 different types. Chlorophyll pigments. Then phycobilin pigments. Phycobilin pigments. Then carotenoids. Chlorophyll pigments are very cheap. The photosynthetic pigments. There are many types. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, chlorophyll D, chlorophyll E, and chlorophyll F, like that. Different chlorophyll pigments. The pigments means what? These are particular chemical compounds containing the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and the magnesium, inorganic, the ion molecules, which is attached to the molecule. Every chlorophyll molecules have got their own molecular formula and structural formula. Take for example, a chlorophyll A molecule have got the head and tail. Head and the tail. When a number of chlorophyll A molecules are present side by side, they have been arranged in such a way that along with the xanthophyll molecules, the chlorophyll A and chlorophyll another chlorophyll molecules, it may be the B or C, arranged together, and they make up that is the a layer of the pigments on the surface of the granathallocoids in the granum of the chloroplast plastids in higher angiosperms and other the gymnosperms. The chlorophyll pigments, they actively participate in the process of the absorption of the particular the light rays having a particular the wavelength, the capacity of the wavelength. This means that photosynthesis is one of the endergonic anabolic process. During the exact mechanism of the photosynthesis completes in two different the phases or the stages. Phase 1 and phase 2, or stage 1 and stage 2. The first phase of the photosynthesis, commonly termed as the light reactions, and second phase known as the dark reactions. The light reactions of the photosynthesis takes place in the grana region of the chloroplast plastids. During light reactions of the photosynthesis, different pigments which are present in the chloroplast plastids greatly participate in the process of the light absorption. That is, they absorb together. The process is otherwise termed as light harvestation. Number of pigments actively participate in the process of the light harvestation. When a number of chlorophyll molecules absorb a solar radiant energy, they absorb and they transfer the same to the next chlorophyll molecules, and finally in this way number of almost all the whatever the number, all the molecules, they absorb and transfer the same to the next chlorophyll molecule, and finally this absorb and transferred the energy go and reach the, or it is transferred finally to the reaction center of the pigment system. Two such a pigment systems involved in the process of the photosynthesis. Pigment system first and pigment system 2, like that. Chlorophyll molecules. Photosynthesis which occur in the green plants, the land plants and aquatic plants is different to that of the photosynthesis which occur in all the photosynthetic, autotrophic, photosynthetic, the bacterias. In photosynthetic autotrophic bacterias, photosynthesis takes place. They also absorb a solar radiant energy. Means what? In presence of the solar radiant energy, they also synthesize their own food material. But the pigments which are present in the bacterias, photosynthetic, autotrophic, photosynthetic bacteria, also termed as bacteriochlorophyll molecule. Bacteriochlorophyll molecule, its structure, its formula is different to that of the chlorophyll molecules which are present in the land plants and other aquatic plants. Bacteriochlorophyll, bacterioviridin are the such a chlorophyll molecules which are present in the bacteria. Phycobilin pigments are another group of the pigments which are present in the algae, the red algae and the blue-green algae. Take for example phycocyanin and phycoerythrin. Phycocyanin pigment which is responsible for the blue and green color in the blue-green algae are a cyanobacteria. All cyanobacteria, nothing but the blue-green algae, contain this pigment. Because of the presence of this pigment, they appear blue and green in color. On the other hand, phycoerythrin pigment, which is responsible for red color, which is present in the red algae. Phycocyanin, phycoerythrin pigments are also greatly participate in the process of the photosynthesis in the blue-green algae and red algae. So these are also pigments. Pigments helps the plant to get a maximum amount of the sunlight uh, for the act of the photosynthesis. The plants need a sunlight for the act of the photosynthesis. This means that in order to convert the gaseous carbon dioxide and liquid water into a solid carbohydrate, and for the release of the oxygen from the internal tissue, they require definitely the source of energy, that is the sunlight. Carotenoids are at another pigments present within the plant body in all the green photosynthetic part of the plant. Carotenoids, commonly termed as the carotenoids. These carotenoids usually are of two types, carotenes and carotenols. Carotenols also called xanthophyll molecules. Anyhow, carotenes and xanthophylls are nothing but the carotenoids. These carotenoids, yellow-orange in color, and are responsible for the photosynthesis. These are at under the pigments. Along with number of xanthophylls, the chlorophyll molecules, they make up the photosystems. Photosystem or a pigment system 1 and 2 for the photosynthesis. Chlorophyll molecules are insoluble in water, and they soluble in the organic solvents. Carotenoids, the phycobilins are soluble in water, and these are also, the carotenoids are insoluble in water. These are, anyhow, the pigments are very distinct chemical compounds containing carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, sometimes the inorganic ions, manganese or a magnesium. Number of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen together, they make up the pigments, different pigments. These are the requirements. Carbon dioxide, water, light, and then pigments are raw materials required for the photosynthesis. After knowing the raw materials for a photosynthesis, let's move to study the ultrastructure of the chloroplast plastid. Because in a higher plants, the well organized, the cell organelle, that is the chloroplast, is present in all the photosynthetic living active the cells of the plant body. Suppose that this is the plant body, this is the plant body, that is the leaf. Leaves are considered to be as an active the site of the photosynthesis. If you cut the section of the leaf, it reveals the presence of the upper epidermal layer and the lower ventral epidermis. Between the upper and lower epidermis or epidermal layer, there lies the mesophyll region. This mesophyll region actually contains the tissue. It is termed as the palisade parenchyma and the spongy parenchyma. This is the palisade parenchyma and this is the spongy parenchyma. If you take out any one the cell shows the presence of the chloroplast plastid. Number of chloroplast plastids which are present per cell is vary from plant to plant, time to time, or in other words, it depends upon the active, the healthy activities, the good metabolic activities, the good metabolic condition of plants determines the number of chloroplast plastids which are present per cell. So this is the plant cell. The plant cell usually, healthy plant cell usually contain of about 40 to 50 number, sometimes more, or the number of the chloroplast plastids which are present per plant cell vary from cell to cell, plants to plant. If you take out this particular the chloroplast plastid, it appears like this. We are studying the ultra structure of the chloroplast. Ultra structure of chloroplast. Ultra structure of chloroplast. In order to understand the exact mechanism of the photosynthesis, it is mandatory that the study of the structure, ultra microscopic structure of the chloroplast, the plastid. As I already discussed earlier, plastids are one of the cell organelles present in plant cells. These plastids are of three different types: chloroplast plastids, leucoplast plastids, and chromoplast plastids. Chloroplast plastids are responsible for green color and are present abundantly in the mesophyll regions of the leaf and in all other green parts of the plant body. Chromoplast plastids are responsible for different color which are commonly present in the petals of the flowers in all the angiospermic plants. And leucoplast plastids are colorless plastids, are present commonly in the cells of the roots of all the higher plants. These chloroplast plastids, as they contain different pigments, namely the chlorophyll pigments and other xanthophyll pigments or carotenes in higher angiosperms and the gymnosperms. The pigments are concentrated and are present only in the chloroplast plastids. But take for example the phycocyanin and phycoerythrin pigments scattered and dissolved throughout the cytoplasm in the cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria do not exhibit membrane-bound cell organelles, that is the plastids. Plastids are not present in the cyanobacteria. Plastids are present. These are double membrane-bound cell organelles present in higher angiosperms. Different algae and different plants, they shows different type of the chloroplast plastids. In higher angiosperms, chloroplast plastids are biconvex lens shaped, discoid or discoid biconvex lens shaped. The chloroplast plastids are present. Suppose that this is one convex lens and this is below this there is another convex lens. Like that, biconvex lens shaped the plastids are present in higher angiosperms. The Spirogyra, one of the freshwater alga, it shows the presence of the spiral chloroplast plastid. Bell-shaped chloroplast plastid is present in Chlorella, one of the unicellular alga. The Spirogyra, Chlorella, Cinedesmus, and then in different plants, the plastids are present at different the structure of the plastid, it is different in different plants. Sometimes a bell-shaped plastid, a reticulated plastid, very much reticulated plastid is present in I think the different the algae. So double membrane bond cell organelle. It is one membrane. I will show you now at another membrane. This is suppose that outer membrane, okay, outer membrane and inner membrane. There are two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. There are the two membranes. Now you can show here the ultra microscopic structure of the chloroplast plastid. It appears like this. It appears like this. This one, the outer membrane, inner membrane. This is now I am going to sketch and show the granum. One granum, another granum, like that. Hundreds of grana are present in the stroma region of the chloroplast plastid. In the stroma region of the chloroplast plastid. It is possible for me to show only few grana. This is fret lamellae, fret lamellae or the fret channel. Yes, the ultramicroscopic study of the chloroplast plastid reveals that each and every biconvex lens-shaped chloroplast plastid composed of or enveloped by the two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. There is a space in between the outer and inner membrane. Outer membrane and inner membrane are chemically lipoproteinaceous in nature, and usually they measures of about 300 angstrom. These lipoproteinaceous outer and inner membrane act as a semi-permeable membranes. So the chloroplast plastids are self-duplicating cell organelles. They contain their own DNA molecule, self-duplicate themselves whenever the new chloroplast plastids are required for the plant body. So these are self-duplicating cell organelles, and they shows their activity much more in a particular the situation. Chloroplast plastids, they exhibit the grana, then the stroma region. Stroma region is otherwise termed as the matrix. Okay. Entire mechanism of the photosynthesis completes into different the phases. Phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 reactions are termed as light reactions. All light reactions of the photosynthesis are confined to the grana. Grana is the region of the chloroplast plastid where the light reactions takes place. On the other hand, stroma is the region of the chloroplast plastid where the dark reactions takes place. Dark reaction is otherwise termed as carbon dioxide fixation, which occur in the stroma region of the chloroplast plastid. Entire mechanism of the photosynthesis completes only within the chloroplast plastid of the plant cell. A plant cell contain not only the chloroplast but also the nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, and the vacuoles, then different cell organelles. Photosynthesis restricted and photosynthesis occur. It runs only in the chloroplast plastids which are present in the cytoplasm of the cell. So therefore it is necessary to understand the structure of the chloroplast plastid. How exactly the entire mechanism? It may be the light reactions of the photosynthesis or the dark reactions of the photosynthesis. Light reactions are light dependent reactions. They occur during the daytime when the light is available to the plants, and dark reactions are dark reactions takes place during the daytime and as well as night, but these reactions are light independent reactions. They do not require any light for to run. So therefore these are also called dark reactions. They do not require any light reactions. Let me to continue. In higher angiosperms, self-duplicating double membrane bond cell organelles, that is the chloroplast plastids, are present. A very active living, metabolically active living plant single cell shows the presence of about 40 to 50 or sometimes more number of the chloroplast plastid. The ultramicroscopic study of the section of the chloroplast plastid reveals the presence of the two membranes, the outer membrane and then inner membrane. These two membranes are lipoproteinaceous in nature. Inner to these the two membranes, there is a space known as the stroma. This stroma, it is rich with the starch grains. I will write here starch grains. Starch grains are present in the matrix of the chloroplast plastid. Starch grains. Soluble proteins are also present. Soluble proteins. Number of ribosomes are also present. Number of ribosomes. Other than the starch granules, soluble proteins, the ribosomes. This stroma region, which is highly granular in nature, it contains the DNA of its own. Because these are self-duplicating cell organelles, they shows the presence of the DNA which is present in the matrix region of the chloroplast plastids. The ribosomes, soluble proteins, the starch granules, and DNA. Anyhow, this matrix it is very gelatinous. It is matrix of the chloroplast plastid. It is granular, and here water and other molecules are also embedded. Number of enzymes which involve in the process of the photosynthesis, namely the light reactions and dark reactions, actually involve the number of enzymes. All those enzymes are present in the matrix of the enzymes. Enzymes are present in the matrix of the chloroplast plastid. Number of different enzymes, hundreds and thousands of enzymes actually participate in the process of the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is not a simple biological reaction. It is not a single reaction. Number of reactions together occur, and they constitute the photosynthesis. Number of pigments actually participate. Number of enzymes actually participate in the mechanism of the photosynthesis. The photosynthesis, it is a complex biological reaction. It is a complex biological reactions. Not only the it is not a quick journey process. It do not complete in a one single step. It runs continuously during a daytime and as well as the night. That is the photosynthesis. So this is about the stroma region of the chloroplast plastid. It is a highly granular in the nature. then it is gelatinous in nature. Um, let me to discuss about the grana of the chloroplast plastid. Grana are the region of the chloroplast plastid where the late reactions takes place. Light reactions of the photosynthesis are confined to the grana region of the chloroplast plastid. A single chloroplast plastid, it may contain hundreds of grana, hundreds of the grana. So these grana, the grana, plural form, granum is a singular word. Granum, a single granum may contain number of discoid, nothing but the disc shaped, circular disc shaped, membranous, the layers known as grana thylakoids. These thylakoids are very important. The discoid, circular discoid grana thylakoids, the membranous thylakoids of the granum of the chloroplast plastid, they reveals the presence of different pigments in them. The surface of the grana thylakoids shows the presence of chlorophyll pigments, xanthophyll pigments. So number of chlorophyll pigments and xanthophyll and carotene pigments characteristically arranged together, and they make up the surface layer of the grana thylakoids. So these different pigments which are present on the surface of the grana thylakoids. Take out one single the thylakoid. The single thylakoid, it appears like this. So these two are the margins of the grana thylakoid. This is the lower membrane and the upper membrane. Okay. These the grana thylakoids are concentrated over the surface of the grana thylakoids. The pigments, different pigments. Again, these pigments are arranged together in a characteristic the way means what? The recent investigation, the research, it reveals that number of pigments who participate in the late reactions of the photosynthesis actually occur in two different pigments, the pigment system first and then pigment system second. So the pigment system first actually consists of a particular number of the chlorophylls and a particular number of the xanthophylls. Take for example of about 40 to 50 number of the chlorophyll molecules, of about 200 to 400 the xanthophylл molecules. These 40 to 50 and 200 to 400 the chlorophyll and xanthophylll molecules are make up the pigment system first, and like that pigment system second. So the pigment system first and then pigment system second are also called photosystem first and photosystem second, are present in the present in this way here. So these are the quanta of the grana thylakoids. The quanta containing the pigment system first usually present towards the center, and pigment system 2, the quanta containing pigment system 2 present towards the margin region of the grana thylakoid. So number of grana thylakoids are present one above the other, just like a pile of the coins, just like a pile of the coin. One grana thylakoid, another grana thylakoid, another grana thylakoid, another grana thylakoid, together they make up the granum. Such a number of grana are present in the stroma region of the chloroplast plastids. Number of grana are again interconnected by the channel known as the fret channel, known as the fret channel. So this is about the ultra microscopic study of the chloroplast plastid, which is present in the higher plants. So the knowledge of the understanding of the ultra microscopic structure of the chloroplast plastid helps us to study furthermore about the photosynthesis. I stop here. Thanks for watching this the video class, and I shall continue the next the video class further the study of the photosynthesis, that is the mechanism of the photosynthesis, and further the pigment systems, and that is the light reactions and dark reactions, light harvestation, and so on. Thank you.